Hey guys, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Series 9 McFarlane Walking Dead T-Dog figure. Now T-Dog here is a rare figure of the wave, and I wasn't expecting to just find him at Walgreens. I didn't quite know if he would be cheaper, but he is quite a bit cheaper. It was like $15.99 there compared to the $17.99 at Toys R Us. That is quite a steal. I would highly recommend going to Walgreens to get your Series 9 figures because it's worth the savings. And I was just really shocked that this guy was there. He's like one of the only two figures that were there, and he's really the rarest of the series, I believe. I haven't seen like any other figure being rarer. Maybe I haven't seen that open-bellied Dale too much, but no one's really hot to get that one because he's not really an action figure so much as some sort of a display piece. But anyway, let's get into this review of T-Dog. So here is T-Dog out of the packaging. Now, this figure is actually quite great. There aren't too many things that I can complain about, though I can find a few, but the tiny little complaints that I have are pretty much complaints that I've had for many other Walking Dead figures, so it's not too bad. And wait! They actually made a figure of this guy? I mean, this guy was in the background of the show more than I'm in the background of your videos. Dang it, Stumpy, I wish you were just in the background of this video. What's that supposed to mean? Scat! Anyway, yes, T-Dog was a background character and not very well known, but I'm quite glad that we got an action figure of him. I did like T-Dog, and his death scene really made him awesome. That death scene, though, it was very sad, and it made him much more of a hero than I thought he would be. Because in the previous seasons, he seemed, in the first season, a little bit cowardly. Second season, he was like, I don't know, it's just like the background character. And he did show a little bit of personality. Like at first, he seemed like he was a bit of a jerk and he wanted to mutiny. Then he seemed like he was just a tough guy. And then in the third season, we could see that he was just one of them, a good guy in the group. And then by the end of the third episode, I believe, where he did his untimely death, he proved that he was a hero. So, I salute you, T-Dog, or Theodore Douglas, as your real name is. And anyway, let's take a look at his sculpt. Now, any complaints on the sculpt here? I cannot find any so far. This guy is just... the sculpt is definitely there. That looks a lot like the actor who I do not remember the name of the actor, but the character looked just like this. This is like, if I were to make a figure of him myself, this is exactly the outfit I'd choose, and this is exactly how his face should look. It looks like they just took the actor's face, ripped it off, and minimized it, and then stuck it on a figure. Which is probably a lot harder to do than just sculpting, whatever. He pretty much has no defects. If you notice, there's just like, what can I complain about? There's nothing with the sculpt, but the paint does have a little bit of a problem. Like, see his eyes? They're all looking off to the side. That's something that has happened with many Walking Dead figures. I just would rather not run into that problem. Yeah. It's just, if he's perpetually looking over there, then if you turn him to this side and you want him to look at, like, you over here, he's still looking over there. Dang. So you always have to angle him like this. That way he's looking at you. But dang, that sculpt and paint on his face is pretty dang good. The paint on his hair, you can actually see, it's funny, he's bald, so that you wouldn't think there's hair, but he does have like a 5 o'clock shadow thing going on up there, and it looks realistic. That looks like how it would look on a real person. I like that a lot. The eyebrows, the beard, the mustache, it all matches up very well. Then the shirt has a nice sort of tannish, orangish color with a nice wash over it to make it look dirty. Then his gloves are nice and awesome looking. It looks like the gloves from the prison, so pretty matched up well. And we've actually got quite a few figures that have those gloves on, so if I were to compare it, his actually look better than those, because you'll notice he does have a finger for the trigger of his gun, which is not something that we end up with too often. Even though his hand is a little bit tight at first, so to get that finger in on the trigger, it's a little bit tricky, but it does work. And that's something that we haven't gotten so far with any characters that have this riot gear glove on. I like that a lot. So, the sculpt is completely solid. Check out those pants. Look at that. Nice wrinkles all throughout. And McFarlane really hit this one out of the ballpark, if you ask me. So, the other figure from Series 9 that I own is Beth. And I'd say, compared to her, T-Dog is much better. He is just the king of this series. If I were to say the best of the series, even though I don't own any of the others, I could probably just guess what they would be like and tell you definitively, he is the best of the series, and I would highly recommend getting him. So just take a look at that height difference. You really feel like you're getting more money with T-Dog here. Look how thick he is and all. Yeah. So, now that we've sort of taken a look at all this sculpt, nice treads on his shoes. Rather nice shoes, too. Yeah, we've pretty much taken all the look at this sculpt here. Let's move on to some accessories. His accessories are actually pretty cool. So he gets a fireplace poker, which he did use in Season 3. And his appearance here seems to be from Season 3, so even though it could kind of fit for other Seasons too, except for the gloves, it's pretty much Season 3. Nice fireplace poker. It's got a sort of bronzish color to it. I don't think I can get much focus on this tiny little thing. Yep, there we go. Nice black handle. Yeah, and a very effective looking weapon. We'll see how that looks with him in a second. Then he comes with these bolt cutters, which are really nice as well. They look like real bolt cutters. Very nice red paint with the black. No complaints there. No articulation or anything. I could use... If it were articulated, that would be like above and beyond, but it would be hard to pull that off and not have it fall to pieces. Then he also comes with this huge vest, which does fit on him quite well, actually. But we'll see that in a second. So to start off... Oh, forgot. He does come with a pistol as well. And this pistol is actually the pistol that came with Merle from Series 3 of the figures. Yeah, it's normally painted silver with a brown handle, but yeah, I love that pistol a lot, so I'm not complaining about the reuse of it. And yeah, there's no real complaints about how that looks. It's just black with a little bit of perhaps some silver dry brushing, but I don't think it really needs much to pass off as a pistol, right? Let me get some focus back in here. Okay. So the pistol fits in his hand very well. It can fit into the right hand here. Very hard to get in, but it does fit, and he holds it pretty dang well. Looks kind of really natural with it, and he can get it up to a pose that looks like he's aiming it between his eyes there. Yeah. Looks like he can accurately aim that. And then we can switch that out with another accessory, the fireplace poker, which fits into that right hand quite well. But can it fit into the other hand? The other hand is made kind of oddly small, so it is a little hard to stick stuff in that one. I would suggest or recommend heating that up with like a hair blower, hair dryer, and maybe just hot water and stretch it open a bit. That does help. And he holds the fireplace poker pretty well in that one, so you could have him dual wielding both the fireplace poker and his pistol. So that's pretty cool. And the pistol does not go in that hand, of course, because there's no trigger finger. This is the best pose you can get pretty much with that. So it can look like he's handing the pistol to someone. Or he's pulling it out of the garbage and he's like, oh, yuck. Yeah, that looks pretty much accurate. And then the channel, what do they call those again? Yeah, the chain cutters or whatever, fence cutters. I don't remember what I called them. Arrgh. Anyway, those bolt cutters, yes, thank you. They fit into his right hand pretty well, but not too well into his left. It's a bit tight because of his tiny hand. Can kind of get into a pose where he looks like he's using, but it's not really a problem because I don't imagine too many scenes where you could use that. I guess you could have him like swinging it at zombies, but really it's just a nice accessory to toss over to the side. I'm not going to be using that. That's going into the accessory bag. But then we get his nice little vest here, which is well painted. It does have some nice little details on it. And then it's got those little pegs on it that snap into these little holes here. You can see that there. And it's not extremely easy to do because you gotta line those up and jam them down. And then the problem I have is it won't like permanently stay in there too well. but it does kind of fit, and that works pretty well. But on him, you can see it's pretty natural looking. The only problem is off to the side, it makes him look quite a bit thick. I mean, he's already a thick figure, but to have this on makes him a little huge. But from the front, it looks pretty dang cool. No complaints about that. Yeah, it's just the side. Maybe if they made it a little thinner in the back, because the front doesn't look too bad. Whatever. Let's take that off. And I suppose we should go over articulation now. Now, to start off, his head is on a ball joint, so he can do a full rotation. He can look up a fair-ish amount, not too much, but can look down a little bit more than that. And he does have that head pivot a bit, which isn't too bad. And then he has the shoulder movement, where he can do a full 360 spin, but it does move off into a sort of angle, just because of the way his body is sculpted here. And then he can move his arm up to not quite a right angle to his body, and that's not too great there. And then at his elbow, he can do a full 360 spin. He can bend it to almost a 90-degree angle, and then he can bend it back like that. And then at the wrist here, there's one spin that's like right here at the cuff of the glove. And then there's another all the way up here at the wrist. Let me try and get some focus back here. Okay. Then he can move outward and inward, and likewise in a different direction. So he can do the scratching in a wall pose or the rolling the dice pose. Pretty nice. Other arm is pretty much the same in every way. He can bend to about the same degree, and he has the same articulation on the hand. Other side, now let's move to his legs. He can do the most ridiculous splits ever. That is just like totally sick. Look at that. That would really hurt to do. I can't imagine ever trying that in real life. But dang, look at that. That's good for articulation, but not practical for, I can't imagine actually posing him like that, but it's good to have. And then kicking forward is a bit of a problem because of his shirt, but if you just got to be a little careful, because I'm afraid for the joints. But his shirt's a little bit rubbery, so if you just push the shirt a little bit, you'd want to give it a nice little shove. His leg can kick forward about that much, which is really good. I can imagine him sitting down in a car because of that, which we will test at the end of the video. And then his other leg can kick up not quite as much as the other one, if you notice, yeah. So that's not too bad there. He's got the kicking power in every way. And then at the knee, he can do a full 360 spin. He can bend to not quite a 90-degree angle. He can bring it back. And then at the ankles, there's quite a bit of movement. It does move side to side. It can move up and down. There's the up. There's the down. And I don't think, no, there's no pivot. Then on the other side, there's the same amount of articulation in the foot. So not too bad, eh? So that articulation is pretty great. So let's see if he can sit down in a vehicle. Bum-ba-da-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, now is the final test for this here Walking Dead action figure, to tell if he is one of the best figures that we've run into. Pretty much, so far we know that he has great sculpt, great accessories, great paint, minus the eyes maybe. Can he sit down properly, or will he be a fool and not be able to drive a car? Will he have to be driven around by his mama? That's the true question. Let's see. Legs are bent to their full extent. Slide them in there, and Theodore Douglas is going to be on the road. Look at that. He looks like a natural. Look at that. Beautiful. T-Dog, you're going to be driving my vehicles from now on. Look at that. Yeah, this figure is really great. So I highly recommend him to you guys, which I think I said earlier, but he's just, I can't get over it. I wasn't expecting to find him. I found him. I wasn't expecting him to be all that great. He was. And it's just basically, he passed all my expectations. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure to tell me what you guys think about him, or if you'll be getting him. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. And here he is next to a horrified looking Dale.